Guys, if you think I sound really tired, it's because I'm dead inside. Because I've been trying to get this video out for over 7 hours now. Because for some reason, there was this static noise coming through, and at this point, I've low-key given up on trying to fix it because I have tried resetting the microphone, resetting the PC, checking Streamlabs OBS settings, um, checking any possible sources of interference and stuff. I'm going to get a new mic as soon as I can, but this is apologies in advance for if there's any static, and I hope you guys have a lovely day, night, wherever you guys are. And this will be my thoughts on the CCU changes and stuff. Not the CCU changes, CCU itself. The changes to For Honor, and like at the end a little bit of like personal hero issues I have. But yeah, we'll get into it. I even wrote a script because I've like had because of this stupid static thing. I've recorded over 2 hours of gameplay as well to see if there was an issue with the game. Like if I say like so much, holy shit. If it was like oh my god, timing of the game or the duration, I don't know what. So there was a lot of that. Those I thought those games were good as well, so I'll upload them later. Probably muted with the music or me talking again over them. But yeah, I even wrote a script for this, even though I don't normally use scripts because I'm just frustrated with like so many likes with just talking without a goal. So here we go. This CCU is not the same. This is I'm happy. I'm on the fence about this new For Honor. The CCU is not the same as the TG. That is bad at the start. The TG that I experienced a few months ago, I can't remember how long ago it was, but the TG that we tested all as a community was amazing. The damage numbers were great, except for like a few known obvious problems, like Conqueror's top heavy being weaker than the side heavy. But overall, the numbers there were amazing. All they had to do were a few minor adjustments, and minor adjustments, in my opinion, were nerf the heavies a little bit more, like 15-20% more nerf and damage. However, this CCU, there's a few things they did right, a few things they did bad. The light attacks being set up, good. You can actually use them now for most heroes, I think, and it feels nice being able to use them. Before the CCU, Valkyrie's chained lights, like the middle one, the finishers you can use sometimes, not the side ones. But the mid lights you almost never did, except in very specific situations. So overall lights, good. Heavies dealing more damage than they did on the testing grounds. Why? There's barely, and I say this like yeah, there have been nerfs to heavy attacks, but some heroes still deal way too much damage. It's very disproportionate, and that needs to be adjusted. And I think if they go to the testing ground damage, it's fine. A little bit less would be even better. Now with light attack, specifically, the stamina cost, this is such a dumb thing. Everyone talks about Shaolin, Orochi, Aramusha, their lights are butchered. Yes, they have been butchered in light attacks and in their stamina cost. The problem I see is that I don't think this, I think this is hero specific because at least when I played Valkyrie, and I did this because I had played 2 hours like trying to make content, but I had a few games where I decided to try just light spamming as Valkyrie, and I had no problem with it. I didn't run out of stamina, or if I did, I was close enough to realize and manage. And you guys might say, oh, you don't have to manage your stamina, but I really, like, it was unbelievable how different it felt light spamming as Valkyrie as opposed to Nobushi or any other hero. Like, I was completely fine light spamming and winning. This goes on to my next point. Valkyrie has been affected by, as all heroes have, but this has put Valkyrie, in my opinion, in a special place because apparently people didn't like Valkyrie light spamming before the CCU. Now that's even stronger after these changes. So Valkyrie's skill floor has been lowered in the sense that it's easier to do well with Valkyrie now, and I'm not happy about that because if you're light spamming as Valkyrie, you're vastly underutilizing her potential and her skill set. The good thing is her skill ceiling has been increased. Why? Because Valkyrie and Kensei and heroes like them, where they have like a lot of inputs for move sets, like very complicated move sets and things like that, lots of chains, they get much more benefit than heroes like Warden or Warlord who have simple movesets or shorter ones like 2-hit chains and stuff. With this increased stamina, when Warden, Warlord, if they have more stamina, their playstyle doesn't change much. But with Valkyrie and Kensei, you can actually use their moveset properly to like a greater extent. You can still run out of stamina if you're not careful, but you don't like go almost out of stamina after finishing one chain now, and you can actually like they get so much more value out of this, which I think is amazing. But what I don't want is for Valkyrie to be A or S tier. I've thought about maybe A tier, but I'm very happy if she gets to B tier, which I think she is now, because personally I get a lot more satisfaction winning with weak heroes, because I firmly think you should like the player should carry the hero. You should master the hero and do well with that hero. The hero shouldn't carry the player, which is a problem with a lot of strong heroes these days. Um, like against Wardens and Warlords, I never know if they're a good player or not, because you can't tell if they're playing well or if the hero is carrying them, because the hero has such a strong moveset and toolkit. Um, I play against Wardens and Warlords who aren't GM and stuff, and I'm sure you give them any other like C tier hero or B tier, and it'll be like they're in season 1 of For Honor. They have no idea what's going on, because the A maybe, but S tier heroes don't really teach you game sense. You learn that from the weaker heroes, and that's very important in my opinion. Game sense is like it's literally big brain plays there. Next point is devs watch freeze. I find this very amusing, but it made me think of the hypocrisy of our community. It made me realize we can be a little hypocritical, because people are like, oh, devs watch content creators, right? You know, they don't understand their own game, you know, they don't play it, etc. And then on the other hand, we complain, why don't they listen to the community? You know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Apparently a lot of people were complaining about light spam. It's been a problem apparently, because so I'll explain why in a second, but light spam is a problem. So the devs can either do nothing and they'll get shit talked for not listening to the community, or they do something about it and they get shit talked for not doing it right according to how the players want it. It's very unfair in my opinion on the devs. I think they messed up the CCU greatly. Like it's not really bad, but still, we're no saints either. Now the origin of the light spam problem, I think, it's because of our community. The majority of the community are in the lower ranks, and I don't say this as like a bad thing or anything. It's just a fact, because that's how it works. The top percent will be fewer in number, and light spam is not a problem for the higher ranks, because that shit gets punished really hard. So this change to stamina as well doesn't solve the problem of light spam for lower ranks either. You will still get hit by light attacks, just not as often. And I think the issue you guys have is not with how often it is that you guys get hit by 1, 2, 3 light attacks in a row. That's not going to change. Well, maybe it will, but it's a little more complicated than that. But the point is, we have to decide whether we want to balance the game for the community, for the majority, because the top percent are still the community. Do we want to balance For Honor for the majority of players who are not as high skilled as the top percent? Or do we want to balance it for the top percent and leave the others to, and I love this phrase so much, get good enough to learn to parry right, or read the game and things like that? And I fall into that category. Why? Because way back in season 1, I hated Peacekeeper's zone attack. I loved her aesthetic and her moves and stuff. I hated her zone attack, because 400 milliseconds, almost unreactable, or maybe even unreactable. Nothing in this game should be unreactable. It should all be reactable, because it feels really nice when you react to something really fast and you get a Peacekeeper deflect or whatever. Thing is, after playing this game for a few years, I've realized prediction it's like in For Honor, it's much better. It's way more satisfying. It's a completely different game when you start playing with prediction in mind over reactions. Prediction makes you feel like you're a psychic, like you can literally predict the future, and reading your enemy gives such a dopamine rush to your brain. You feel like an actual god, because what is prediction? You have to read or predict or take into account, factor all the possible potential pathways, all possible events that may occur, and then you have to make an educated guess based on your enemies, based on the interactions you've had previously with your opponent, on what they're going to do in future, and this changes individually. So this is like way more varied because Peacekeeper's zone or attack will always have a standard timing in For Honor. Doesn't matter who plays it, they will have a standard timing. But when you fight other people, most people play differently. Well, and when you get high enough, they don't play that differently. But generally speaking, people are more varied than timing. So you get way more satisfaction from getting the right, and it's not a guess, it's predictions. Okay, that's another argument. But you get way more satisfaction when you know you've read your opponent because you've dominated him mentally and you understand what he's going to do before he does it himself. That is way more satisfying. Like sometimes when I'm dueling someone, I will give up the 4th round if I've won 2 and they've won 1. I will give up the 4th round and play very stupidly. I will crush and counter every light and heavy attack. I will always soft feint my 2nd chain heavy into a shield bash so he dodges and parries a light follow-up. Why? Because I will spend an entire round conditioning him, and in the 5th round I will play so differently that I will completely dominate him and destroy him, and he will be so confused as to how that happened. Or he actually gets good enough to realize what's going on. And whether I win or lose, the games then are always way more fun and interesting than how it is now or was before. So those are my thoughts on the CCU. I will go into a little bit of certain heroes I have issues with. Warden. Back dodge bash. Please remove it, Ubisoft. It's a terrible concept and mechanic. I don't know why it's there. Optimal play for Warden now is to just stay 3 or 4 Shigoki distances between your opponent, wait for them to miss an attack, and then you just interrupt them with a bash. You dodge back so they can't even guard break you, and yeah. It's a stupid concept. Another thing that is not a big deal is just my personal issue with it, because I need to get good sometimes, I don't know. His level 3 bash animation. When you move forward with Warden after a level 3 bash, I do not think you should be able to feint it into a guard break. I think once you've committed to level 3, you should have committed. That's it. But maybe I need to get good. Because it's all about the risk-reward ratio, right? People, I used to have problems with, no, I didn't used to have problems with 50-50 heroes or 33-33-33. I used to have issues with the risk-reward ratio. The reward should be in favor of the 50-50 hero, yeah, but it should be proportionate. And when damage numbers got tuned down, I felt it way more balanced. Still in favor of 50-50 heroes, but it was way more balanced. You don't die in a few wrong guesses, and it gives you more time to go into that reading your enemy, learning the prediction, learning to predict which 50-50 he's going to do. So you get way more time to learn your opponent, and then the predictions just, you know, they give you more and more dopamine as opposed to Highlander. Like, yeah, you can dodge roll, but assuming you don't, 3 hits and you're dead. You know, it's not very fun. It's not very long lasting. You just leave and go to the next one. And speaking of these animations for the tier 3, level 3 Zanhu, I used to think he would be so strong when I learned that how he was designed and the finishers were unblockable and either light or heavy, and then Freeze let out a video saying if he doesn't spin, it's a light attack, parry it. Well, he's not the best now. If he spins, it's an unblockable heavy or guard break or whatever, just according to you. But if it's a light, it's a parry, and it's like, oof, you know, poor Zanhu, he looks amazing though. So, animation reads are also an important part. Every time I make this video, like this CCU thoughts, it just gets longer and longer. My final point, I'll try not to take up any more time. Gladiator's zone, I do not think it should be feintable. He's the only hero who has a bash as a zone attack, and it's not like Warden's bash that can be feinted. Like, it's used as an option select, and I really don't think you should be able to feint that, but that's just me. I hope you guys all have a lovely day, night, wherever you are. I may have said this before, but I hope you enjoy the content, and I will see you guys in the next one.